my daughter wants to know when I find reading to help her pick reading, I start looking for reading for myself. That was an interesting subject that caught my eyes. It made me begin to think and wonder, Brother Joe. The title of the book is A Fish in a Tree.
Okay.
It's one of those paradoxes. It's one of those things that make you know that something is out of place. Something is unorthodox about fish being in a tree. A fish in a tree is, without saying, something that is out of place. When we talk about rebuilding, when we talk about rebuilding, reestablishing, when we talk about restructuring walls, things like that, that we realize that it is an arduous task. It is a great responsibility for us to have to rebuild. Oftentimes, we feel sometimes it's kind of out of place.
Yes.
I know it's rough because sometimes you feel it's not your place to have to rebuild what someone else is torn down. Or to rebuild something that you're not responsible for. Or to rebuild in places where people didn't appreciate what you built before. It seemed out of place. Sometimes they have to rebuild, reestablish, reconnect, recycle, reunion, reconnect with folk that disconnected from you, reconnect and rebuild with folk who literally tore down what you was building. You know, it's just something kind of out of place. But with just the reading of the book, I discovered that what she talks about in the book is this unorthodox friendships of people that will connect, that you would at least think they was connected, or that they would want to connect. People that didn't have anything in common, people that was doing things that you would expected them to do, would cross over bridges and do things for other folk that you wouldn't expect. I mean, that they didn't have much in common. They just found a common goal, a common purpose, a common reason, a common geographical location that they was in, that decided, that forced them. Like a fish in a tree. But I really rationalized that, and as man, I got to break it down. I said, because it would be that impossibility, but if the flood came, you could possibly find a fish in a tree, because sometimes circumstances force things out of the place they are accustomed to into places that you won't normally see them. Water get high enough, a fish would be glad. You got me? And so happens in life, and so happens with God, that sometimes God is forcing us out of our calm and comfortable, convenient places into places where people would most unlikely see us in, but because God is trying to create unorthodox friendships, relationships, God is trying to build bridges in places where you didn't expect to build a bridge. God is trying to connect folk to people that you wouldn't think they would be connected with. God is trying to say to you and I that when I'm involved, I cause you people, and I cause people to do things that appears to be unorthodox, unlikely. Can I suggest to you that when God is calling you to rebuild, whether you're rebuilding a building, or whether you're rebuilding a relationship, or whether you're rebuilding a business, or whether you're rebuilding, connecting with people, well, no matter where you're rebuilding, then you and I are going to have to build with skills. Yeah. I discovered it takes more skill to rebuild than it takes to build. I'll do just that. Watch this. To build means that you take new materials and you establish something. To rebuild, Brother Joe Hill, my first point here, you must have the skill to both recycle and build at the same time. You go watch this one more time in this room, somewhere in here, in terms of it. In order to build, all you have to do is be able to have the necessary material, and all you know that the material is good before you start, and that's enough. But to rebuild, you got to go in and reevaluate what has been ruined, was wasted, was had value, whether it still have value. You have to go in and establish whether or not you can use this again for the next place or the next building or the next relationship. You got to throw away that which is not good and learn how to keep that which is. You got to get rid of the unvaluable and keep the value. So it takes more skill to rebuild than it do to build.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You have to have the skill to recycle if you're going to rebuild.
Yeah.
You got to be able to, Brother Alfredo, be able to look and see that which once was something or once was great, to see whether or not it still has the essential material that it would take in order for it to be great again. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
You got to go in there and make an assessment. You got to go in there and test it and see do it still have it. Do it still have the value? Do it still have the work? Do it still have the stability? Can somebody still depend on it to do its job, to serve in its capacity? And many of us in here, when God get ready to recycle us, one of the questions God is asking you and people would ask around you, do you still have? Yeah. Y'all forgive me if I shout all the way through this. These ain't words, these are living testimonies. These ain't just biblical principles. These are principles that's been applicable to my life to keep me. You got to go in. Watch this here. You got to use your skill to rebuild. I want to help you out. Because sometimes rebuilding is not only have invited your spiritual maturity, but your natural skills.
Okay.
See, chapter 3 opens up with the priest in place.
Yes.
But he ain't in a building praying. Nor is he offering up sacrifice. But he's using his natural skills to rebuild. I discovered that when you go in to recycle things and recycle stuff, you have to stretch beyond your ability in terms of what you're accustomed to doing. On Friday, I was at my cousin Peter's house. And at my cousin Peter's house, just so that the Holy Spirit would have. When I walked in her room and walked in the house, she looks over and we were talking in conversation. She looked over and she saw an old mop bucket. She said, look what I have. I said, what you have? She said, look at this old mop bucket. I looked over there and I said, I see that every day at the big place of business. But she started telling the story of the mop bucket. She said, somebody had just threw it on the side and left it there. She said, but I took that old mop bucket, it was rusted, but I sprayed some WD-40 on it. She said, somebody thought that it no longer had value or worth. She said, it was dirty. You couldn't really see the yellow on it because it was full of mud and dirt. And she said, while she checked the mom in the order, she said, I sprayed it down and I wiped it down and I cleaned it. And then she said, now look at it now. It's serving me on purpose. And all I'm suggesting to you, that sometimes you got to go in and you got to take some more skills other than the ones you have on the surface. Spiritual people ought to be able to see beyond the mess up of natural. Is there anybody in here that every now and then it ain't a high and holy Sunday or high and holy spiritual experience from you, but it's because you was down in the dumps, and because you was down in the dumps you can see the reality of what you really need in order to get up from where you are. You got to be able to find value even when you find yourself or find others in the most worst. And when you go recycle, others may determine it as invaluable. It's up to you to determine what has worth and purpose to you. Can I help you in this room? That's why when folks start talking about, if I was you, I wouldn't keep him. Well, you ain't me. You're don't know what value she has for me. I'll get rid of him quick, baby. You don't know what he does for me.
Come on.
Never let other folk evaluate what has purpose for you.
That's right.
Because
Amen.
what may be purposeful to them, it may be purpose for me. I thank God
Yes.
for the ability, Brother Joe, to look beyond
Yeah.
my faults
Yeah.
and see my own needs. Somebody in here better help me in this room and turn to him, because your fault will make you throw away something that can help you later. Your faults.
Come on now.
Elijah, when the priest goes in, he could have grumbled about the fact that he had to come and no longer be in a place of prayer, in a place of consecration. But sometimes places of prayer and consecration ain't got anything to do with the words you speak, but the actions that you demonstrate. You can tell whether something is high and holy, whether or not you're willing to take care of it. You can tell how much something had value to you. Are you willing to recycle it? Are you willing to set it on trophy? I kept some trophies that I won in the insurance business.
All right, sir.
And every time, for some reason or another, somebody always would talk about throw that away. I told them no.
Yes, sir.
Leave it right there.
Yes, right. That's right.
Because it reminds me of my skills to sell that which is intangible, but yet establish value and worth in the life of people. Somebody in here, you just missed what I just said. See, they was talking about insurance, but I was trying to tell them I sell and I produce and give the people every day of my life an intangible God, and I need to remind myself, you have the ability to have people buy what they cannot see and trust in what they don't have. And if you can do it in insurance, you ought to be able to do it with it. All right. So you and I must have the ability to recycle. But I discovered, Brother Joe, not only do we have to have the ability to recycle, Brother Cal, we must have the ability to reposition ourselves.
Yes, sir.
You have to be willing to walk out of the place that you are accustomed to, that you are convenient in, that you're comfortable with. You have to be willing to reposition. Whenever you go to rebuild, you got to reposition yourself. You got to leave where you are. And in all through the story, you hear Nehemiah, he repositioned himself. And if you're going to lead people to reposition themselves, you must be willing to reposition yourself first. There's a whole lot of us asking people to do stuff we ain't willing to do. There's a whole lot of people asking folks to readjust their life, change their lifestyle, but you ain't changed yours yet. You ask them to readjust their faith, but you haven't changed yours yet. Readjust their attitude, but you haven't readjusted your attitude. You tell folks to reposition, but you have not repositioned. Position himself. He's not sitting in the king palace talking about rebuild the wall. He left the king palace and came to the rubbish and said, I live in the rubbish if I can find some folk that'll help me rebuild. Sometimes the delay of rebuilding because people are waiting on you to reposition.
Wow.
You still living like you've been living. You got the same attitude? Before the wall and after the wall. Can I help you in this?
Yes, sir.
Elijah is the grandson of Geshem. Geshem is the one who built the first temple. He was one part of building the temple. And now his grandson has the responsibility of rebuilding. Can I help you in this room? Sometimes the things you have to rebuild, you weren't even here when it got torn down. Sometimes you got to fix things that were broke. That when you arrived, it was broke when you arrived. Sometimes you got to work on stuff that was a mess before you showed up. Watch this. Sometimes you become responsible for what your parents and grandparents did or didn't do. Sometimes you're responsible for the generation curse that you did not cause. Sometimes you're trying to fix stuff that happened way before you showed up. But nevertheless, you've been given the opportunity. Nevertheless, you've been given the capability of fixing that which was. You got to reposition yourself. You can't run around talking about it ain't my fault. You can't run around talking about I didn't do it. You cannot run around talking about my mama, my daddy. I'm the reason why I'm here in this situation because my mama didn't do something with my daddy. No matter what they did or didn't do, it's your job to rebuild it, reestablish it, reconnect it, recycle it, turn it around. It's on you. You have to reposition yourself. You ain't blameless because you're on the seed line that it come out of. And if it come out, you came out of the seed line somewhere. That devil, that demon, that sin, that mess up, that hang up, that habit, that thing is in you too. And you better rebuild something. So when it start coming out of you, you got something that'll anchor you and keep. I help build a church, not because I'm perfect, but because I'm going to need the church. I'm going to need its theology. I'm going to need its forgiveness. I'm going to need its stability to keep me stable when I'm unstable. You got to reposition yourself. Not only do you have to reposition, you got to learn how to reconnect. When you get to the text, they all have been scattered. Surely, God, who's the great architect and builder, was trying to build himself a people. While he was building himself a people, and there's some pseudo architect came in and realigned the building, gave the wrong measurements, gave the wrong specs, told him to build the wrong way. When God saw that it was being built the wrong way, going the wrong direction, leading away from it, and it wasn't going to make the tabernacle temple that he would receive. God had to go in and tear down that which was being built, and he took the hammer called Nebuchadnezzar. And Nebuchadnezzar hammered his people until he tore down every crooked line, until he tore down everything. He let Nebuchadnezzar, he allowed the Medes and the Persians, he allowed Babylon to come in and tear down what was being built, but he only let it be torn down so he can rebuild it the right way. Can I help you in this room? Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes God will scatter you from the people you need and the people you love and the people you want so that he can rebuild you so y'all can realign and reconnect the right way. Is anybody in here? I have a problem with my cell phone that every now and then I go in to connect it, and because it has this protector to keep it from breaking whenever I drop it, and so therefore the insurance that insures me that sometimes that my phone won't break or that it won't get torn up because I've dropped it, because I'm human and I'm just caused to error at some point or another. I don't care. Anybody, if you ain't got nothing to protect your stream, there's some of the funniest drops in life can happen, can't it?
Yeah.
Some of the funny breaks in life can happen. You weren't even intended to break.
Yeah.
But never cease to amaze me is that even though you know I didn't intend to break it, you still get mad at me as if I tried.
You better talk about it.
My kids looking at me because every time they break their phone, did I tell you? I ain't paying for that to get fixed no more. I said that about a couple of weeks ago. But watch this, Cam. I said it on a Saturday. And about Monday evening, I got a call. Mia said, Dad, Pumpkin broke my phone. Now, I come find the truth out. Pumpkin didn't break her phone. She broke all her phone. I said, well, you know what I told you. I ain't fixing these phones over and over again. Every time y'all break them, Holy Spirit whispered in my ear, It's just crazy. I let you break the 10 Commandments and the Holy Word continuously. And I always come back when He paid it all. That's all right. You hear the saints shouting here, I shout it back to the Holy Spirit. Jesus. You have to reconnect. And in reconnecting, you got to recognize it does not matter who broke it.
Yes.
But it does matter who's willing to fix it. That meal blamed it on Courtney, her sister. She broke it. But Courtney paid for it to get fixed.
Wow.
And sometimes you got to pay to fix things that you didn't break.
Woo! My goodness. My goodness.
You have to learn how to reconnect.
Wow.
And when you go to reconnect, because these men are coming from various places. They're coming, these families coming out of various experiences. They're coming out of broken stuff that where they can look over and they could look at the priest and say, you're the reason why you didn't preach fervent enough. You didn't tell us the whole truth. You should not have let us come in and offer up sacrifice for our sins when you know we was going back to them. They could have found reason to blame him for their brokenness, but they just looked over all of that and found reason to connect. Can I suggest to you in this room, how many of you in this room are willing to look over the fact that maybe somebody may have caused your brokenness, or you may have caused somebody else brokenness, or you may be the one that's creating the problem in somebody's life, but you're so caught up with rebuilding that you're willing to reconnect with those that created damage in your life. I'm gonna leave y'all alone. I'm gonna leave you alone. Jordan, I hope I'm giving you something to fight with the next time you break your phone. Watch this. He said they reconnected so they could rebuild. And the delusion is that you can stay disconnected and still rebuild. That's why it's taking us so long to rebuild, because in our mind we think we can do it while we're still disconnected.
Come on.
I'm on my way. This is the last one. When you catch where they started the process of rebuilding. So you understand that there was 40 something, there was 10 different gates that needed to be rebuilt, 10 different places. There was 40 something projects, 45 to 40 projects that was going on in terms of rebuilding. I mean that it was a massive plan of skill and architectural understanding in terms of realizing what they needed to do to bring it back to its glory, greater glory than its former. It took a whole lot in terms of what they had to do in order to rebuild. But they started at the sheep. Because brother, Reed, listen, if you and I are going to rebuild, if you and I are going to reconnect, if you and I are going to recycle lost and broken humanity, we're going to have to learn that you must start at the sheep gate in order to rebuild. Because the sheep gate was the place where the sheep came in order that God may start the process of redemption. Without a sheep gate, there's no hope for any other gate that is open. They can build everything around them, but if they didn't build the sheep gate where the sheep can get back in, where the sacrifice can be made towards God, then there would be no hope for them as a people. And they knew that. They knew that anytime you leave God out, no matter how beautiful the building is, God will have it torn down. Doesn't matter how beautiful the man is, he'll still go to straight. No matter how fine the sister is, she'll find them hips and walk somewhere else. It doesn't matter how much money you have. People find another reason for you to spend. It doesn't matter have rebuilt the sheep gate that brings the redemption. Okay, this is my last.
Come on, Pastor.
If you're going to build with skills, you must build and having the skill of a redemptive mind. Yeah. On my way out. But I got to give God a shout for having a redemptive mind. Got to give him a praise today for having a redemptive mind. They rebuild the sheep gate because the redemption of man started with God who created him. Yeah, everything man sees had been built by the hand of God. You got to catch it because they say they dedicated to Hannah.
Yeah.
I was looking at them talking about, I don't know who that is. Don't sound like no God I know. So let me check these boys out and make sure they write about who they dedicated something to. And I had to chase it down. And I discovered it was the tower and the place that had salvific connotation. They built that tower so that that tower can help them to look out and see when enemies was approaching. And also to see when men was hurt or down. It gave them the view of the overview to see what had happened in order that they may bring their help. I say, I got it now. It has theological connotation. In Jeremiah, he says he will build it. In Jeremiah, he says you can look out from this place. And it is where you can see, it's like that lighthouse that's connected to God's house that can see the wayfaring men and women that's been shipwrecked in life, that has been damaged in life, that's been thrown on the seashore life. I don't know about you, but I'm here to say, if you live long enough, doesn't matter what you know, doesn't matter what you have, doesn't matter who your mama is, doesn't matter who your daddy is, doesn't matter where you come from, life will wreck you, life will dump you, life will wash you ashore, and you got to hang in there and know that there's a redemptive God that can save you, that can deliver you, that can set you free. Doesn't matter where you've been, doesn't matter what you've done, doesn't matter what folk are saying, as long as I have King Jesus, I shall be redeemed. Can I help you as I close today? The Bible says that one day God stepped in the middle of nothing and he built a world. And when he got to building a world, he built a relationship with a man called Adam. And after he built a relationship, he gave man dominion over that which he built. Yeah, and God did he build a relationship for man. And he called it marriage. And then he built a family for man. He built it, he called it family. He built the world for man. And he called it paradise. But one day, man tore down and destroyed what God built. Yes, you better be careful who you're listening to. When God built something for you, he built it and he gave him dominion. He built it and he gave him power. He built it and he gave him ability. He built it and he gave him his likeness and image. He built it and he gave him authority. He built it and he gave him prosperity. He built it and he gave him joy. God built it and man lived in it. But I discovered that sometime when you didn't build it, when you don't know the process, when you don't know the price, you will tear something down that costs a whole lot to build because you don't have the right value on it. And I believe God in his infinite wisdom and God in his infinite knowledge allowed man in his wisdom and in his foolishness to tear down what he built so he can appreciate the next time God would build it up. Can I help you in this room? He built the world. He built the relationship with man. He built and gave man authority. But man one day decided he would listen to somebody that wasn't even there when God built it. He listened to Eve. She wasn't there when he built it. He listened to the serpent. He wasn't there when God built it. So he don't really know what he needs to know. And she didn't know what he needed to know. And just like man, he left the builder and the architect for one of the servants that was working in the building. Isn't it funny how sometimes we listen to those that don't know and listen to those who think they know, and we end up losing what we had. He listened to Eve and lost his paradise. Eve listened to the serpent and lost her husband. All right. Somebody said, no, she did. Yes, she did. Because when God came looking for him, Adam said, this woman that you gave me have made me lose the paradise that you gave me. Can I help you in this room? But Adam lost his God playing and listening to folk that he was supposed to be teaching things to. Man, you better know your place and know your order, because your boss ought to be the one that speaks. Your boss ought to be the one that obeys. And when God come looking for the family he built, he's not going to ask for Eve first. He's going to ask for Adam. You better rebuild what God has built. You better reconnect and reposition what God has established. And the Bible says that when he did that, he tore down everything that God built up. He gave him a relationship with nature, and nature a relationship with him. He tore that up. He gave him a relationship with the animals, and he tore that up. And my God, in his redemptive love, told him, in spite of what you've done, I still have redemption on my mind. I'm about to shout and get out of here. I thank God for the sheep gate. From the sheep gate, I see a son is born. I see a seed being given from the sheep gate. I see a Savior that's been bruised for my iniquity and being for the chastisement of my sin. From the sheep gate, I see Mary's baby, Joseph's stepson,